Welcome to the Human Endurance Podcast, Pascal. We're super excited to have a Swiss athlete present in this episode and to have you here. And yeah, I want to start the podcast by asking you to introduce yourself to the listeners.
Well, thank you very much for invitation. About myself, my name is Pascal. Most of the people know me as Swiss ultra runner, also on Instagram. That's why I run, or probably I run ultras. I run a lot of ultras. I'm also record holder on several distances. But I also like the fun part because since I have to train a lot, I do like in the afternoon, or some people know me from last year's Zurich Marathon, where I paced the sub-3 marathon. Afterwards, I did the half marathon, and after that, I did the 10K as a shakeout run. So, well, that's more or less me, runner, and if I'm not running, then probably I'm sleeping, I'm eating, or doing some crazy stuff.
That's an awesome intro. I think the coolest we've had so far, and we've had tons
Thank
of
you very much.
episodes. So I'm very excited to talk to you. So I just want to state here some of your records because they're super impressive. So as you mentioned, you hold the Swiss 100K national record. So you did that in February this year, 6 hours, 18:27. So you won the race there, which was in Italy, by over 30 minutes, which is awesome. 12-hour records for continuous running, or basically going as far as you can, right? So for 6 hours, you ran 91.6K. And then 12-hour run, you ran 161.2K. So that's insane. We'll start by diving deep into your national record, the recent 100K. So can you tell us, take us back to that race morning? What was the plan going in? What time were you targeting? Were you targeting to get the national record?
Yeah, good question. Actually, I've tried to break the national record several times before. I tried like 5, 6 times. Sometimes it was too hot outside. One time it was very windy. One time I fucked up because by my stomach, or well, you never know. So my expectation was actually, okay, I'm in a very good shape. If everything goes right, I can make it happen. But to be realistic, you fucked up already 6 times, so it can happen again. So I was like with these mixed feelings, not setting too much pressure to myself, and told me, well, if the day goes right, you definitely can do it. I knew from my data that with good conditions, I can shoot for like 6:15. I also knew on that day there will be wind on the second part, and that can be a bit frustrating. Just, it fucks up your mind a bit when it's terribly windy all the time, and you don't like keep on pushing permanently against the wind. So I knew just shoot out, take the lead, and never look back. That's mostly my mission, or how I start a race, and that was exactly what I executed. So I started and I shoot out like crazy, and I never looked back until I finished.
Also, a quick question. So, this race, I assume you also won it if you did the Swiss national record.
Yes.
And how, like, I want to touch on a couple of things you mentioned in your explanation. So, when you say you look at the data, what kind of data are you looking at for such a long race? Because it's so hard even to plan for a marathon, the finish time, because there already a lot can happen. So you're doing double that distance and a half marathon almost on top of that. What kind of data do you look at in leading up to such a race? How do you fuel for such a challenge?
Yeah, good question. Actually, I know I have to stay consistent in zone two. Zone two, from my part, goes up to like 80 to 82% of my HR max. So I know that's 160, 162 beats per minute. If it's warm, I can handle that because my heart beats a bit faster from experience when it's warmer. So I have to go up to 162. If the conditions are good and it was pretty fresh and cool in the morning, around 7, 8 degrees, I know I shouldn't shoot over like 160. So best would be 158. So I know exactly. If you can, or your body is able to keep up for 6 hours in a range between, let's say, 154 until 158, or if it has to be 160, I know I can handle that from cardiovascular system. So that was one thing. And then you shoot out like by your feels, and you try to find the pacing. And the pace I knew I have to start around at least 340 because normally over 100k you lose physically like 10 seconds. That's what I know from experience. You lose physically like 10 seconds. So you start by 340, you end up by 350. That would be the middle 345, which is equivalent to a 615 for the whole distance. As I found good, I started a bit faster, around 336, 337, 338. And I told myself, if you feel good, stay to that. If it's already hard in the beginning, you shouldn't do that. If you feel very good, don't go faster because even though you feel good on the first 10, 20k, muscle damage is going to be crazy afterwards. So don't shoot out for, even you can run like a 330 or a 325 and still feeling good. Even if you shoot out with that, the muscle damage will be brutally after like 50k and then you fuck up. So I knew I can handle a bit below 340 if I feel good, and I felt good, so I did so. That was exactly the plan from like pacing and cardiovascular wise. Knowing that, I know also that I have to full up like at least 80 grams of carbs per hour. Better if I can handle 100 grams. It's only a 6 hour race. For me, that's short. It's a short distance. So I don't have to carb up until 120 grams. So I know if I feel good with 100 grams or 80 to 100 grams, that will be fine. So I always have the chance to take either a gel or a carb drink. I can deny it, then I have to take the other one. But normally my support pushes me to take me something because I'm not allowed to not drink or not take a gel. Otherwise, I know I fuck up later. Even if I don't feel like taking nutrition, I have to because I need it afterwards. So that was the plan actually, and I really stuck to the plan that day, and it worked out pretty good.
A quick question. So I'm curious you were very specific about the heart rate zones that you would want to be in, the exact range, also with nutrition, knowing exactly the grams and the range that you would need to be in. How did you go about defining those zones for both for fueling and also for heart rate? Are you doing testing constantly? Can you speak to that?
To be honest, I tested that years ago. And since then, I stick to that. The good thing was in October, I did the 6 hour record in Switzerland. I was pacing more or less the same. It was an easier loop, to be honest. And I knew exactly half a year ago, I did the same plan. I did the same structure and it worked pretty good. So I know I only have to run a bit longer than the 6 hour and then I could break the 100k. On paper, of course, the execution is always a bit more difficult, but on paper I knew. But I take the lab information I had from the pulse actually. And that's cardiovascular wise. And from nutrition wise, I just know I can handle like this amount of carbohydrates, not much more. And if I have less, that gives me a bit of risky of dropping out. I know that also from the past.
Yeah, I'm just so amazed hearing those paces. I mean, obviously, you're like, I'm a woman. There's different paces, but the 340 is like I go fast, for like 1-2K. So it's just I cannot even comprehend how this is possible over 100 kilometers. So I'm really, really mind blown. I want to get more into your race and also how you felt when you knew you're gonna break the record, because you broke it by 30 minutes, which is quite a bit. Um, at what point did you know that you almost have it? But then you also never know if you're gonna still break, right? So you cannot celebrate in the midst or towards the end. So what went through your head when you knew you're on pace, but you still had to push through? And I did see the video where you came in, and it looked very painful when you finished that race. So share a bit more about that.
Yeah, I had set different milestones. I knew you need to go easily in a good range over 50K. So you need to feel good after 50K, because that's the easy part, the first half. As I had that and the wind wasn't still too heavy, I knew, okay, I'm on a good path, but there's still a lot to go. My second milestone was like 60 kilometers. Sounds strange, but once you have done 60, it's only a marathon you need to handle. So I knew a marathon is something you can do, no matter what happens, but you can bring down the marathon, kind of. I mean, that's at least in my mind. It's still 40K to go. That's more or less the second milestone. And then there was a third step I need, kind of, because between 60 and 80 it's getting a bit dirty. You feel you are tired, you don't like to push anymore, you don't like to keep up the pace because it's more painful than it is in the first 50K, and it's still a lot to go. So the mindset wants you to slow down or wants you to give up, obviously, because it's easier to give up than to run. So I tried to play a bit with me, saying, okay, we have 10K loops. You are now on 70 kilometers. If you're done this one, you're at 80. You need to do only one, and then you can do the final one. The final will be fine. So I knew you only have to do it until 90, then you're on your last round. So you need to play a bit with yourself and your mindset, because yeah, from a rational perspective, it's still a lot. And you can still have cramps or something at kilometer 90, 98. And that's a bit the tricky part. So you really focus on speed, on nutrition, and on everything, and not try to have too much emotions already drop into your running. Otherwise, it can be difficult to handle. So I set different milestones like that from kilometer 50 on.
What about hydration? Is that something that you thought of before? I can imagine so. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, that depends a bit from the weather condition. Normally, I try always to put carbohydrates into my drinks, because I don't want just to spoil drinking without taking in carbohydrates. Depending a bit how warm it is. At that time, it was like, as I told, 7-8 degrees in the morning. It went up to 10 degrees. It never gets too warm, to be honest. So I decided I did not drink. But on the 17th kilometer, I was like, if I drink more now, I need to pee. If I need to pee, I lose some time. I don't want to lose time, obviously. So I was like, yeah, drink just as much as you really need. Don't overdo it. It's not a really hot day. The sun will not be too heavy today. So try to keep it simple and only a few. But I did not drink enough, to be honest. I drank like 2 liters before doping control. I drank like 2 liters just after the race directly.
Well, quick question. I'm super curious about that because you mentioned peeing. So you didn't pee the whole race?
Exactly. I never stopped. I never peed. I never anything.
You have to teach me, because for me, when I do half Ironman, I pee quite a bit. So I do it on the bike, so I don't have to stop. But it's a big stopper. So I'm curious because it's a long time without having to pee. But I guess you sweat it all out.
Yeah, at that time I did actually. Sometimes I do, and then I have to stop, obviously. But I also know from training. I mean, sometimes I go on a 10K, 12K easy training run and I repeat like 2 times or 3 times. But normally I don't drink too much in the morning upfront. I really try to drink as much as I need in order to sweat it out directly. And it's also, since I'm carb loaded, there's the water stays within me kind of from that part. So I don't have to pee that much, and I try not to pee because I don't want to lose time. Obviously, nobody wants to lose time, but yeah, if I have to, then I have to. I also know if I have to, just go. Don't think about it. And yeah, because otherwise you're thinking like 5 kilometers about shall I pee or shall I not? And that fucks up as well. So
Yeah. Can you walk us through what carb loading looks like for such a race? Like, how many days in advance are you carb loading? How different is it from your day to day? What did you eat the morning of the race?
yeah, that's very interesting because normally during training I'm a low carb runner, so I don't eat at all a lot of carbs. I see carbs as really fuel. I mean, they are great, and that's a great nutrition, but I need them for fueling and for energy. So that means during all my training runs and my trainings, I carb targeted. Means if I have an intense run, mostly I do like intake also gels or carb drinks in order to have it in the same way as I have it on the race day. If I don't run a lot or on training days, I do mostly the first run without even eating breakfast and eat something afterwards. I don't fool a lot of carbs on my normal diet. When it comes to harder session, I try to fool the session targeted. When it comes to long sessions, I also try to fool the longish session targeted. Long can easily be also training session line 40K. And then when it comes to race day, I start like carb loading shortly before, so mostly the day before. Another good question, how do you do it? On paper, eat the healthy stuff. In fact, just eat what you can grab, kind of. Don't really too much shitty, but I'm also fine with toast with Nutella something the day before. Not too late in the evening because then my sleep would be bad. And mostly on race day, I'm very nervous. I'm not into eating that much on race day in the morning. So I start with the coffee black and bar sometimes, and that's enough. That was also on race day. So I have enough inside stored. I don't take a lot of breakfast, and then, but from like kilometer 5, I start fooling myself and keep on that.
So you probably are a very good fat burner. Um,
Yeah,
and then
yeah, you definitely have to. I also feel more comfortable during my whole life if I don't eat too much carb. So that means somehow my body relies on fat mostly. And as I'm doing a lot of sessions zone 1, zone 2, yeah, obviously I'm burning a lot of fats there as well. Yeah.
Just a practical question about fueling during the race. How do you carry all these carbs?
In terms of logistical,
Yeah, like, do you
mhm.
have a belt with like 100 gels? What does that look like?
Actually, those ultras on the roads that I do mostly are doing loops. So you have a support table over there. I have like mostly in my belt like 3 gels with me. So I know like 100 grams of carbs I can survive without even somebody at the line outside. But otherwise, I mean, I was doing 10 loops in Italy, so that means I passed my supporter 10 times. So she was able to give me some drinks and some gels with me, and then mostly I take like a flask together with a gel. Then I drink the flask, threw away, and I keep the gel for the next like 4 to 5 kilometers in my hands, and then I take the gel.
Mm.
And then mostly there's also an official nutrition table. So I only take some water, but mostly only to cool down a bit or just to have something in my mouth.
Got it. And let's, I want to move a bit to your training overall
Mhm.
that you do regularly, but then also leading up to a race. Um, yeah, curious to hear what your training volume looks like from what you race. So can you share a bit about the volume you do, but also intensity? You're already sharing that you do a lot in zone 1 and 2.
Mhm.
But yeah, share, do you do a lot of runs on the road? Do you go on trails as well? Do you do a lot of hill repeats? What does your training look like? Do you cross train? Do you do strength training? Those are kind of
Mhm.
the things I'm looking for.
Yeah, good question. I'm an ultra runner. That means ultra runner don't like strength training or everything else than running. To be honest, that's also my philosophy. Not telling that this is a good point. So people should do strength training. Don't get me wrong, but I'm totally into running. So that means I do like run every day and mostly twice a day. Because if you have that in your mindset that every day, I call it every day is a double rainy day. So that means you're just used to. You do a session in the morning, you do a session in the afternoon, and yeah, it's like brushing your teeth or something. It's just a thing you do every day twice. And then a bit not like a marathon runner. I don't have like a 12-week plan or a 16-week plan. I'm training all year. So every day throughout the year. In normal build, I'm doing volume wise between 160 and 200 kilometers per week. Doing that, I can hold a good quality set as well, which means on Tuesday, I do faster sessions. That could be like fast 1Ks 10 times, fast 1 miles, sometimes also neuromuscular stuff like 400 meter sprints with short breaks between for VO2 max.
And what pace is that, just out of curiosity?
400 meters, not that fast, to be honest. Like 70 or 71, 72, 20 times, something around that. So 3 minute pace for me is fine for 400 meter. I can also hold it for 1K, but it doesn't make sense because if I hold a 3 minute pace for a K, I fuck up after the second or third split. And that's from ultra running perspective, it doesn't make sense because I'm focusing on doing rather more than faster. And sometimes on Tuesday, I also try to do a double threshold just in order to put a lot of intensity only on one day. So I do in the morning like zone 2 intervals. In the afternoon, I go up to fast zone 4. So that could be 1K or even shorter distances. That's a Tuesday. And on weekend, I also try to do another intensity session around threshold or sub threshold. So that could be, for example, 3 or 4 times 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers. Pacing wise, on the paper, it's like 320. In reality, I start shooting out like 315 and then I'm a bit over trash. But as an ultra roller, I feel bad if I do too much over threshold since the volume is already high enough and the training structure is already intense enough doing it twice a day. That means if I overdo a session, I have to pay the bill the day after. And that's not good for me since I love running and not only the hard sessions.
Yeah, and it kills the consistency.
Exactly. And the Thursday, I call them crazy Thursdays. They are like what I do ultra specific. That means on week 1, I start by 20K in the morning, 20K in the afternoon. That's an easy one. Then I go to 25 morning, 25 afternoon, 30, 30, 40, 40, marathon, 45, 50, 50, 50. So the most is 50K in the morning, 50K in the afternoon. The morning is sometimes also in zone 2. That means out of this 50K in the morning, I have at least 40K at the 340 pace-ish. So that means I shoot the first 50K in the morning with an overall time of 3 hours 10, something around that. And then I still have to do a marathon in the afternoon, which is an easier one, but still on a 430 pace, 420, 25 around that, which is done in zone 1. But yeah, still, I mean, if you have already tired legs from the morning, you feel a bit shitty. And that's exactly how I train the fatigue. That's exactly how I train also the mindset to keep continuing if you don't want. That's also to just to keep on this consistent thing that you have to be capable for longer distances. And that's what I do mostly. So between this 160 and 200, I don't have rest days. If I feel bad, I'm fine with going only for one run or like 10K. I also have sometimes once a month, I feel like not like running. Then I don't have to. That's fine for me as well. It's not structured. Well, in the evening, then I feel guilty. But during the day, it's fine to have a rest day. And then when it goes to race specific longer races, like a 12-hour run or like a 24-hour run, 100 miles, stuff like that, I increase a bit the volume. I go up to 240, up to 300 kilometers per week, but I decrease the intensity. I'm not capable to keep up the intensity on Tuesday and on a weekend day so high if I have to push the volume. Because if you have to do like 300K, obviously you're doing on a Thursday like 80 or up to 100, but there's still 200K left for 6 days. So that means between 30 and 40 you have to do per day, which is a lot.
What kind of shoes do you use and how much shoes? I'm curious.
The better question is how much? All of them. I have like 15, 20 pairs around me, and outside I have another like 10 or 15 pairs. So approximately, I don't know, between 30, 40, sometimes up to 50 pair of shoes. However, most of them are the same. I'm wearing mostly carbon. People hate me about that because I'm the guy who is wearing always carbon. Mostly I'm into Vaporfly Alpha Fly from Nike. I just like them. Vaporfly for a bit the faster one, Alpha Fly for a bit the, let's say longer sessions. And I also have some brands that sometimes they send me some shoes, so I take them for the kind of recovery runs or easy runs, or just to have a bit rotations. I have from ASICS as well. I have from Mountain Coast as well. I have some others, but mostly I'm into carbon plated shoes.
And how come?
Because I like them. They have a bit of swag, and if you feel like cool, then you're running also faster. No, it's not like that, but it is a bit like that. If you have cool shoes, you feel like you can run faster, and that's probably why I run better.
That's your secret.
Yeah, it is. Just buy cool stuff.
There's also you one recovers faster in them, and that can also benefit you, right? Because you recover faster in carbon shoes, and that maybe it lets you have this volume.
I do have a feeling, but I mean, people tell me don't use that much carbon shoes because you get more injuries. To be honest, it's the opposite. I rarely get injuries from carbon shoes, so that's why I wear them. And actually, I'm pretty fast at recovering. So sometimes the morning session after a hot session on, let's say on Tuesday, the morning session on Wednesday still feels a bit bad. So, yesterday was a hot session, but the afternoon session is already like it was a day after. So sometimes it feels actually like a new day, a fresh day. So, yeah.
Are there exceptions when you don't wear carbon shoes?
Sometimes I feel like not destroying expensive carbon shoes if I go a bit through the forest. I still do a lot of road runs because I'm cognitive, not that good that I can do the trail stuff, even though I like. But sometimes if I go through the forest or I really go on a very easy run, I feel like you shouldn't do that in carbon. But yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. And are you self-coached, Pascal, or do you have a coach?
Yeah, actually self-coached since sometimes I have difficulties when people tell me what to do. But I'm really science based. I read like every paper to improve myself. I'm also a bit a biohacker. That's why I came also. I did in the past like this keto diet. I did the low-carb diet. I tried like everything, just a bit self-hacked. And I truly rely on papers more than I rely on myself. So that means if I know something that it works from a paper, I try to stick to it. So that means my training is very, very science based and mostly heart rate zone based, and that works pretty good. And I can handle it because I know if science tells me that it is right, it's better than I think, because I'm not good at deciding by myself if I'm not influenced from outside, to be honest.
I have some questions because I can imagine that like studies on ultra running and especially the kind of stuff you're doing, they're not very common. How do you deal with that? Like, are you looking for particular studies that are done within kind of this constraint or this universe of ultra running, or are you looking at general running studies and then trying to get some takeaways that apply to you?
Yeah, exactly. I take mostly from marathon and shorter distances in terms of intensity stuff. I take that out. Then I take also the approach of consistency and volume over like one good session. So that's more the ultra stuff. And then I try to mix it a bit together and fit together that it suits to me, because I'm also the guy who is more into volume than into intensity. If I overdo intensity, I fuck up. If I overdo volume, well, probably I feel a bit bad. Hormones are going a bit down. I know that I'm a bit less motivated sometimes, but it's not that critical, or it's not as critical as going too hard. So I take a bit from every universe, try to adapt it to me as ultra runner, and then I stick to that. And then it's a lot of experience, even though I'm not running that long, but it's a lot of experience.
That's a good segue to your journey into running. You mentioned you haven't been running for that long, and listeners might be like, "What? How is this possible?" So, can you share your way into running? First of all, how did you find the sport? Have you been exercising something similar like cycling or swimming before? And yeah, how did you get from running to ultra running? Because that's already a big jump.
Yeah, exactly. To go back like 30 years, I was into short distances, like 60 meters, 80 meters, 1 kilometer, 100 meter. I was pretty fast when I was a teenager. So from there, obviously, there is something genetical in me that that helps me. And then at the age of like 16, I gave up doing sport more or less at all. I was focusing on going to parties, going into bars, and doing DJing all the time and having fun and enjoying life, which was good. But it led me to drink too much. It led me to eat too much, getting in a bad shape until the age of 30, 35, 36. At that age, I felt like, okay, that was 2017, around that. I felt like, okay, you're now 37. If you keep, or if you stick to that at the age of 40 and 50, you're old, you're fat, and you're uncool. So I told to myself, that's not the dad I want to be. Meanwhile, my kids are 16 and 18. But at that age, I felt like, no, that's not the person I want to show them, actually. And then I decided, okay, let's change something. And I only had like running shoes, yeah.
Can I quickly ask a follow-up question? Was there some specific event that this switch happened? Because often, you go through life and you're not realizing, oh my God, I need to change something. So I wonder, was there something or a couple of events that led you to this thought or this point?
Actually, there was like a Fitbit challenge from a Swiss insurance. I don't exactly health insurance. I don't exactly. But the thing was, if you take part as a team, you get a free Fitbit. I mean, Fitbit was the real shit at that time. It only counts calories and steps you did, but it was a big thing. So I was leading a company, and we had like 4 people in the management. And we decided, okay, let's take part in this Fitbit challenge, because we can get a free, you do everything if you get something for free. So you get a free Fitbit watch. So we did that, and we decided at that time, okay, let's train for Fisherman's Challenge, which was at that time this Modi challenge in Engelberg, like running 15 kilometers through the mud and doing these strange obstacles. And that was a bit the initial part. Besides the fact that I was in a bad shape and wanted to change something, so I convinced my management guys to take part in that to get the free watch. And that was actually the start. After that, I stick to it and decided, okay, let's try a fast half marathon. And once I did that, I was okay. The best an amateur runner could do is like a sub-3 marathon. Let's aim for that. So I set that goal and tried. And at that time, if I start something, I really stick to it and I dive deep into it. So at that time, I scaled like running 3, 4, 5 times a week until like 6 or sometimes even 7 times running. And then I really trained hard to get my first sub-3 marathon.
Where was that?
That was in Lausanne in 2019. And once I have done that, I felt like probably you cannot run faster, but it's fun to run longer. So let's try to keep up the pace, but do it longer. And that was my game into ultra running. Also on YouTube, I saw all those nice trail runs and felt like I want to be a trail runner once. I never got one, but but it motivated me. It motivated me to try as well to run over a long time. And then I mean, once you have done like 60, you try, let's try 100. Once you have done that, let's try to go 100 miles. So you just take the next goals, kind of.
But how did you also realize that you were so good? Because you do have talent. You also train a lot, right? But it's still quite remarkable how within 10 years, less than 10 years, you became one of the, I would say, best runners in the world. So how is this possible? Like, how did you feel that you have this talent inside of you?
I'm not good at, or the best thing I'm good at is I'm really resilient. I'm also a startup serial entrepreneur, so I fucked up a lot of companies. I also sold some companies, so I know how it is to work hard for something and to fail again, and get up and try again. And that's something I'm really into me, and that's a superpower you need to have for ultra running, because on every success there's a long path of failing, a really long path. I mean, I have much more stories of failing than the winning ones. Obviously people want to see me winning, but I have so many fuck ups in running. And the good thing, I'm a bit this guy who likes to fail, to get up again, to try again. And the more I fail, the more I want to reach it. And I do it even longer, harder, and more extreme until I get there. That's somehow in my DNA. And that kept me up like every morning. And then I told to myself, if you want to go faster, just do it twice. Just do it 10 times a week. Just go up to 15 times until you get it. And then I had to, kind of, because I always like to set up the goal so high that I have to really work hard for it. And that's the talent. It's not the running itself, I guess.
Yeah, it's, you're when you talk, you don't sound very Swiss, because that's not characteristic that we have grown up with, right? Being almost excited to fail and then go again. It's very frowned upon almost in our society, right? To fail is not good, and that's really interesting. Do you are you first of all 100% Swiss, or can you explain somehow how you got this?
I'm 100% Swiss, but I feel at home. I don't feel at home like here in Switzerland is my home. I feel at home everywhere, kind of. And I like different cultures. I like different ideas, and I like how people take and solve things differently. And that's a good thing. I mean, you can take from everybody some inputs, and obviously you shouldn't take too much Swissness from that. I mean, we have the consistency, the punctuality, and everything, but the game of failing and doing it again from the American society, that's something I'm totally into, and that's what I like. If you don't try, you will never figure out, and there's nothing to lose actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, super inspiring. Fabio and I, we started a company last year together on top of the podcast. I think I was mentioning it to you before the episode. Doing everything together. So that's fun, but this is a super awesome mindset to hear. I mean, I think we're pretty resilient people, but it's just so nice to hear it from somebody else that also brings this kind of energy, like, oh, failing is fine. Let's go again and just kind of YOLO in a way, right? Like, let's try
Mhm.
and build. So that's super cool. Gives me
Exactly.
energy. But I'm curious to hear, like, if you like the road to the volume and intensity you have now, and the performance you have now is obviously very long. Did you have any setbacks with injury, any mistakes you made with training? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, always. I do it as long as I get a setback. Exactly. So that means once I went up to 100. I mean, when I did my first marathon, actually, I nearly died on that marathon. I felt like nearly dying. So I was so fucked up after that. I couldn't walk for like 2 weeks. I felt really shitty, and I had to kind of rebuild my whole. I destroyed everything in my body because I just wanted to nail it. Because I knew, okay, that will be my last shot on the marathon. Otherwise, it's not my thing, actually. So I really went out hard, and I did everything. And then I felt like shitty for like 2, 3 months. So I really have
Wow.
to restart running slowly. That means at a 7 minute pace, 7 and 30 minute pace as a sub 3 marathon runner, just to get rid of the pain and the structure damage that I had in my body. To be honest, that took a while,
What did
and
you
then
do
I
at this marathon? Like, did you just push through the pain?
yeah, the thing is actually started in 2017 and running a sub 3 in 2019. I mean, you see meanwhile a lot of people that do that on social media, but that's not actually the way you should do it, because that can happen to you, and it really destroyed me. And yeah, I was like, just push through. Once you done. Yeah, and I had to pay the bill afterwards. Yeah, it felt miserable, really, for months. And that happened. Also, I had to go back and take step by step. At that time, I was with my weekly volume between 100 and 120K until that marathon. And then I went back, restarted again. And yeah, then I built up my volume over weeks to like 140, 150ish, which was still a lot, until I had like the next injuries. Sometimes injuries happens. That's life. But once you're already on the level that you can handle like 150, 160K, you're getting back faster to that. So what you have already done in the past, you can easily get to that level again. And I mean that I can run like 200 kilometers a week and feel still good the week after, that I can do it another week. That's since like last year. I mean, the year before I did as top peak 200K, and then I was shitty for a week. Meanwhile, I can handle that for a week, a second week, a third week, and then probably a week more down with 160, 180, and then I'm back again.
Crazy how the body can adapt, right?
Mhm.
It's insane, and this also without strength training. Just pointing that out.
Yes, yes. That's really crazy. I also had the need to do as much as possible, because starting at the age of 37 and having in mind you want to break all records in Switzerland and even be at the top level of the world, you need to be fast, because yeah, you won't do that at the age of 60. So others have like 10 years in background. I only have like 2, 3. So you need to adapt and go fast and go higher very fast. Yes.
Have you gotten comments from people, or because getting so good so fast, I'm sure that also attracts a lot of people, maybe saying you're doping or whatever. Have you had like lots of people getting your way with those kind of allegations?
Yeah, since I'm living as content creator or doing all my stories public, I have a lot of hate. Yes, that's obviously the life, how it has to be or how it is. People tell you, oh, that was doping, you're faking numbers. I mean, I try to be authentic and telling them, look, there is a doping control. Obviously, I have to do that, otherwise, it's not recognized by the national department, etc. But anyway, there are so many people trying to make bad comments, and also from jealousy, also from
Of
just
course.
bashing others. Just bashing others is kind of a sport itself, and people
Yeah.
need to do that to feel better. And that's the normal. Obviously, that's the normal life on social media. I had to learn that in the very beginning. I was like, come on, I'm just a runner, and I try to do my best, and I want to motivate people actually. Of course, I'm good at sometimes, but I'm also bad at, and I show also of all my bad days. But yeah, when you are a target, when you're
And
that
yeah.
such a person, you're a target. Yes,
Yeah, when you stand out in a way, right? You're easily attacked because of, yeah, jealousy and those
absolutely.
kind of feelings.
Yeah. It's so easy also behind the screen, right? Like
Yeah,
people are just wild on the internet. They just
yeah, it is.
hide
It
behind
is.
a username, whatever.
It is. But the good
So
thing in ultra running, ultra runners are kind of a bit more supportive than like
mhm.
in other competitions. So we like to help each other because we know how it feels if you suffer for hours. And yeah, if somebody has go through that, he has suffered, and that's absolute respect to everybody, no matter how long or how fast he or she was. It's absolutely astonishing always.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always humbling to go
Yes,
to go ultra and try to achieve these things that nobody has ever done.
absolutely.
Yeah. And Pascal, what do you, or what has running, this whole journey into running, taught you?
Actually, it just shaped my characteristic even more. So all the characteristics that are in me, I really can live by running. So I like to fight for something. I like to be resilient. I also like to fail. I also kind of a bit masochistic. You have to be when you're an ultra runner. That's all my personalities, and I can by running, I can live them really in kind of reality. And yeah, it's for me. Nobody has to care about, and that's fine. It's only for me, and that's the thing that really drives me. I'm doing it only for me. Of course, I want to achieve those records, but it's for me only. I'm my most critical and yeah guy that supports me, but also guy that hates me on the same level. Yes.
Cool. And do you listen to music when you run?
Yeah, sometimes I do. I'm still, as having a background as trance DJ, I still have these old trance tracks from 19 whatever, 1992, 95, 19 whatever. And I like that just because it's repetitive and you can yeah keep on going. When I'm in a competition, mostly I'm not allowed to by rules, and I'm also fine with listening to nothing, just being with myself and thinking about my life. Sometimes I shouldn't, but it's also good to reflect a bit of a life sometimes by running. It helps a bit sometimes, yes.
For sure. We know the feeling.
Yeah,
So you used to go all night long, and now you just go all day long.
exactly, exactly.
Everyone. Nice. I would love to switch gears and ask you for some advice for some aspiring ultra runners. That's something we always do on the podcast, kind of do a closing with some round of suggestion, recommendation, thoughts from our guests. So imagine somebody who's done a few marathons and they want to step up to the first ultra. Where do they start?
Mhm. Uh, I think I think just do it. Don't set yourself too much pressure. Don't set yourself a goal. You can also do it by like a 6 hour run. So there's no specific target. You just have 6 hours and you can run as long as you want. And then just enjoy your time. Don't let people tell you that it's stupid. It is. And that's fact. And that's fine. Just do it anyway. And then you're good into it.
I like it. And I guess don't forget to bring some food.
Yeah.
The 6 hours.
Definitely. Definitely. Yes.
And also one practical or want to ask question for advice. So Bruna is actually running a 42K run this weekend in Croatia. It's a trail race, so with like 3,000 meters of elevation. It's her second trail race. Do you have any recommendations for her?
Just enjoy. Just enjoy. As long as you enjoy, also enjoy a bit the suffering because it's part of the game. There are good times, there are bad times, and both makes the whole story. Enjoy both because it's such at the end it's such a short time you're out there and just take it.
Yeah, good one. I'm very excited. I haven't raced in 3 years because I had so many injuries. So
Oh,
I'm
great.
just happy to be at the start line and
Yeah, exactly.
healthy. So that's the best.
I can imagine.
Okay, another piece of advice. What would you say is like a minimum weekly volume that somebody should build before they attempt their first 100K?
Mm. I always tend to say if you have done a weekly mileage, as long as you races, then you're fine. So that means if you can run 100K a week, then you can also run a 100K race. Don't do that only once and then you go for a 100K week. But that means your body kind of can handle that within a week. And then with a solid taper and not overdoing it in the last days, you can go up to that. It will be hard anyway, but then you can handle that kind of. That's a bit And try also to grow a bit with your journey. I mean, don't start. Meanwhile, on social media, people start like, let's do a 100K. They've never done half marathon before. So I started with the 10K. I was happy when I could run 10K. I was happy with my first half. I was happy with my first marathon, even though I did that in a short period. But I scaled month by month and had to grow with that. Also from mindset, you're not into 100 from 0 to 100K. You're not that fast into that. You can grow with that.
I completely agree. I took years to do my first marathon just because I didn't also want to push it. And I feel like today everybody wants everything immediately. It's this instant dopamine rush almost, or this collection of things. So I think it's nice to just give it some time. And I think it's almost like a calling. You know when you're ready and you feel ready.
Exactly. And when you like running, I mean, running comes from inside, at least for me. It's never that somebody can push me out. I mean, they can cheer me, that helps me a bit, but it comes from inside. I love it. I have to, because otherwise I wouldn't do it that much. So it comes from inside. And once you feel like going on a longer distance and going faster, then do it and try it. Not earlier, yes.
Yeah. I also want to ask for advice in terms of family life, because you mentioned you're a dad, you have children, and I'm curious also how you combine that with your other life that you have.
Yeah, of course, there was some time that it was difficult. I had to run like 4 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the morning. Then I went to my job leading as CEO. Then I went home at 6 in the evening. Then I had the kids from like 6 to 8. And then nearly I had to go to bed because I had to wake up the other day. Just try to find a life that you can hold. I mean, I did that, and then I nearly crashed because it was so heavy getting up every day. Try to find a solution that suits to you. Sometimes in your life you have less time. Meanwhile, my kids are 16 and 18. They like to go to races on the weekend because they know I'm racing in Amsterdam, in Berlin, in Italy. They like to come with me because they get pizza, they get whatever, and I'm only racing short. So they have a whole weekend with me for a short race. But it not always fits perfectly into your life. So, and that's totally fine. Just take the time that you have. Invest in that, set priorities, and that can be that you can run a lot and sometimes you can't. That's just the fact, and accept that. That's okay.
That's what you tell yourself in 2017 when you started running.
Yeah.
Cool. And what are your next upcoming challenges, races, big things that you're gonna do?
Yeah, there's actually a good one because now I set the 100K national record, and to be honest, that's a short distance for me. I'm not good. I'm okay or good at, the critic is always in me, but I'm good at longer distances. So my main focus actually is on 100 miles in 12 hours, and I never got the chance to get a real good one. So. Having said that, and the fact that in Switzerland we don't have official records for 100 miles and 12 hours, I have to shoot for the world record. So obviously that's my next goal.
Wow. That's yeah, cool. So what's the record for 100 miles?
Yeah, 100 miles in 12 hours, more or less the same in terms of pace. That's a 4:02 pace. Or let's say running 4 minutes for 12 hours. And that led to 100. At the moment, for 12 hours, it's like 177 dot something. So you need to aim for 180 kilometers in 12 hours.
Wow. And who's owning that record at the moment?
At the moment, it's Alexander Sorokin. He also owns the 100K record. And he's a good friend of mine. And yeah. I mean, we appreciate each other, and everybody tries to do his best, and yeah, I try to do as well.
Yeah, it's really cool. Nice. And when are you attempting the record?
That will be on the 9th to 10th of May in Sittard, which is in the Netherlands. It's a flat course, I hope, and it's in the night. So I hope not windy, not too sunny, not too hot, and that's best conditions to try a world record. Yes.
Very cool. And where can people follow you? So if they wanna, just support and let us know.
Yeah, my whole life is on Instagram at Swiss Ultra Runner. You find myself. You find all the good parts of me. You also find whenever I fuck up or have a bad day, I show off, but I also try to be honest and authentic. So I have also bad days, and you see that as well there.
You're human too. That's good to know.
Yes,
we love that. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. That was such a interesting conversation. I learned a lot about ultra running, and I'm still mind blown about your paces.
Thank you very much, and thanks again for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Human Endurance. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you like the show, don't forget to rate it and hit the subscribe button whatever you're listening to it. This helps us to reach a bigger audience. Thank you and see you next time.